Living and being alive is realizing that you and everyone else around you need to breathe and stay healthy to be happy. You are here for a reason, along with everything else in your surroundings. Welcome to dōTERRA Philippines' second anniversary event. Let us celebrate as we start off with our General Manager for dōTERRA Philippines, Mr. Michael Carson.
Welcome to dōTERRA Alive, Philippines' second anniversary virtual event. I hope you enjoyed floating into the venue and exploring the carefully prepared expo rooms. If you haven't had a chance yet or didn't see everything, you will be able to visit the rooms at the conclusion of this main session and any time until the end of the year with your same login credentials. We have a lot prepared for you today. I would like to especially welcome those of you who join us live. You have been invited to this meeting by a dōTERRA wellness advocate who believes we have something valuable to offer and are excited to share it with you. It is through relationships and invitations that dōTERRA is spreading and growing both globally and in the Philippines. May I tell you a little bit about dōTERRA? dōTERRA is a fairly young company, established only 13 years ago in 2008. dōTERRA exists because there was no company selling truly pure essential oils, and a group of very brave dreamers asked if it was even possible to source pure essential oils and if a company could financially survive selling only pure essential oils. Many people doubted that it was possible because it had never been successfully done. Some tried, but eventually cut corners and took the bait of profits and began to put things in the bottle that weren't on the label. Others were willing not to cut corners, but weren't technically capable to test and verify the pure oils they were told they were buying were free from fillers, additives, and other adulterants. Fast forward, and after far more than 100 million in sourcing and testing investments, dōTERRA is the undisputed largest essential oil company in the world, even larger than your friend's favorite brand. But the size of the company isn't the important thing. That is a result of like-minded millions wanting the same thing as our founders: purity. If the product isn't pure, it doesn't matter how large we are. Let me just get to the point. dōTERRA is the gold standard in quality in the essential oils industry. dōTERRA essential oils are the most tested, most trusted, and most researched essential oils in all the world. Those aren't just words. If you stick around today, we want to offer confirming evidence. Some of you are here for the first time or are associated with another company. We welcome you. And we don't blame you if you are a little skeptical. Don't worry. Most people are when they first encounter essential oils. Are they really pure? Are they really effective? And why does it even matter? I have real health challenges. I don't need these oils. I need medicine. Well, that's where you might be wrong. And if you give yourself enough time, we can help you. Yes, even you, to become more informed and confident in essential oils. If you already know a lot about essential oils and you are here with us for the first time, it is your lucky day. You finally found the essential oils you have been looking for all these years. If you are a newbie to essential oils, how fortunate are you that you stumble upon the best on the first chance? Perhaps more than any other company, dōTERRA is persuading the pessimist through research and the uninformed through education. Did you know that 80% of essential oils on the market are not pure and not natural? Unlike others, we don't hide things through our labeling. And you won't see 100% pure on our labels. We believe it's redundant. If it's pure, stating that it's 100% pure just seems like companies are trying to convince you or themselves that it is. dōTERRA is built on a strong foundation of pure and natural products. Through clinical trials and studies, dōTERRA essential oils have been validated as providing results that are consistent and predictable, bottle to bottle, batch to batch, and year after year. There are no extended or adulterated oils here. We have set a standard in sourcing and quality that no other company can match, even if they wanted to. Have you heard the quote by Benjamin Franklin? "The bitterness of poor quality remains long after the sweetness of low price is forgotten." I hope you can ponder on that for a moment. I love this quote because we feel the highest quality oils are the most affordable. The more your wellness means to you and the higher the stakes of your wellness issue, the more you should value purity and efficacy. dōTERRA seeks to be the world's premier essential oil and personal development company. In dōTERRA, we don't refer to our business partners as distributors like so many in our industry do. They do so much more than distribute product. We call them wellness advocates because they strive to be healers of the whole person and exhibit servant leadership among their teams and to their customers. From the beginning, we have known that our products are best shared through face-to-face interactions with people who know and trust each other. We also believe the power of sharing can empower people wherever they are. For this reason, we are an MLM company. But I think you should know that we love the model. But we seek to distance ourselves from the negative stigmas of MLM. You could say that we try to be an anti-MLM MLM company, to take the negative out of MLM, if you will. In dōTERRA, wellness advocates introduce and share essential oils, but customers transact purchases directly with the company. In this way, wellness advocates who are committed to sharing do not have to buy large volumes of product and then frantically try to sell the product each month. Also, we pay out commissions on all transactions, not just the weakest of two legs after you have reached hundreds of thousands of pesos in volume. Customers appreciate that they can transact with the company on more of a traditional business-customer relationship-like a basis, and have back office departments to problem solve and quickly make things right. Perhaps most importantly, we are not the right place for people with shady ethics and bad habit lily pad hoppers from one MLM company to another. They just don't seem to fit in with what we do. We seek to be pure in the product we offer as well as the manner in which customers learn and purchase the product. There are a lot of great things happening at dōTERRA because of millions of personal interactions worldwide. Here in the Philippines, a wellness advocate recently shared with me that her approach to customers and strangers alike is, "How can I help?" Other advocate leaders say that with all the samples, house calls, and educational classes she offers in her community, that she has become a local dōTERRA, a revered and honored title to be sure. Yet another dedicated sharer of dōTERRA essential oils said, "My daily activities are now better aligned with my life's purpose." Many people agree that to obtain happiness in life, you must find purpose and mission, serve and take care of others. We are honored that such kind-hearted and wholesome people have aligned with our simple philosophy of providing the best and helping the most. Another customer turned wellness advocate profoundly said, "I am here because someone cared about my wellness." What lofty praise from someone who has benefited from being introduced to the essential oils. It was about 4 years before I sought out dōTERRA as my employer that I was introduced to essential oils by some friends that stayed with us in our home in China for a few days. They asked me what I was struggling with most, and I quickly told them that I wasn't sleeping well. They left me a few bottles of oil and told me how to use it. It worked, and I started learning and using essential oils more and more. Eventually, our family had experienced some really profound experiences, and I contacted one of the owners and I asked, could I somehow be a part of this company with such helpful products? I also am here because someone cared. And here you are today, here by the invitation of someone who cares about you. I hope you know that to the person who invited you, you are much more than just a number or a sale. In a time when many are lonely, misunderstood, frustrated, scared, or grieving from loss, there are holes in hearts that helpful hands and essential oils can help fill. dōTERRA wants much more than just for your house to smell like lemons. We want for your life to start turning around from this very moment. We want you to see the possibility in the world and in yourself that were hidden just yesterday. We want you to feel alive to the potential in yourself, to pick yourself up and be better day by day and walk step by step toward your wildest dreams. Could it be that at some point in the near future, you look back and say that this day, today, because of a brown bottle with a few drops of oil, you started to be really alive? We certainly hope that we can aid you in your life journey and cheer you on along the way. Thank you for being here today and enjoy the messages and information. Next, Kathy Tang, one of dōTERRA's very first employees and current Senior Director of Sales and Account Management in Southeast Asia, is with dōTERRA's CEO and founding executive, David Sterling, to talk about dōTERRA.
Hello, my name is Kathy. I am so happy to be with you today. We're so grateful to have our CEO, Dave Sterling, to be with us today. Dave, we are so happy to have you.
I am thrilled to be here. Thank you, Kathy. I just want to welcome everyone. Welcome our people from Singapore, from Malaysia, from Thailand, and from the Philippines. I know it's been pretty challenging this last 18 to 20 months, and we're grateful for each and every one of you.
Thank you. Dave, we know when dōTERRA started, that was 13 years ago. It's a humble beginning. And then we have so many of the markets, and they are all new to our dōTERRA. Will you share a little bit with us when company started? How does that to you?
Kathy, it started, as you said, 13 years ago. I can't believe it's been 13 years. But I'll just say that it has been an incredible journey. And we have many new people with us that are watching today. And I want to especially make them feel welcome. And I have not yet personally had the opportunity to visit Thailand or the Philippines. And I look forward to being able to do that and to return one day with my friends as well in Singapore and Malaysia. But what an incredible journey dōTERRA has been, and what incredible good that has been done around the world. Thanks to our many wellness advocates, we just wouldn't be able to do what we do. We wouldn't have been able to become what we become without the efforts and engagement of just a lot of amazing people.
Yes, the past few months, it's been too long.
Yeah.
The markets are eager and wanted to have our owners to visit with them. We know that's being kind of abandoned with the COVID situation, and a lot of people are struggling in different ways. How is dōTERRA bring hope to those people during this time?
Well, it has been a hard time. People have been quarantined. People have not been able to continue to share and teach about the essential oils, or to even be with their teams, and just to strengthen one another. So, dōTERRA, we hope that people will be able to resist that feeling of commotion, that feeling of fear, that feeling of despair, and that they will focus on the good things that we can help bring. And we bring that feeling of being able to be together with one another. We hope that people will feel like their lives are relevant, like they're making a difference, and like they really matter. That's a very important thing as part of the culture that we have with dōTERRA.
And yes, I feel like the whole dōTERRA during those times we stayed together, and then that's really incredible.
Very important.
And we also learned from you at the convention. You mentioned about dōTERRA is a legacy company, and then that's a lot of impact with that statement. And what does that look to you? And then how can the wellness advocates contribute to this direction?
Well, it's probably a little strange me calling dōTERRA, that's only 13 years old, a legacy company. But to me, it's a legacy company because of what we've been able to accomplish in those short 13 years. Today, dōTERRA has moved through the world, impacting hundreds of thousands of lives with our co-impact sourcing. We have a legacy reputation for having the most pure medicinal grade essential oils that can be had. There's many things that we've been able to accomplish because of the help of many wellness advocates that allow us to have had an impact on the world that feels like we're an older company.
Yes, and I think that it's a very good advice especially for our region's markets. A lot of markets are new, and then I know they would love to carry on this kind of legacy. Looking forward, looking ahead, I know for most of the markets, what would you like to share with us? What kind of things we can do in our own parts of the world to carry this mission?
Wow. Well, I hope that people in dōTERRA, first and foremost, keep sharing the essentials. They change lives, they bless lives, they help people so much. But we hope that each person will continue to grow and to develop as well. We hope that they'll continue to expand the circles of their influence beyond their own family and maybe immediate friends to much larger groups of people, so that we can bless more lives, we can impact more lives, more good can be done.
Yes, I think that's the mission we all wanted to. We have this motto to say, a drop of, one drop, one person, one family, one community at a time. We also know dōTERRA do a lot of good things. Co-impact sourcing is to so many people, that is the core thing. Can you share a little bit about on that part?
We do the co-impact sourcing. We have the opportunity to do that, of course, because our essential oils are sourced from all over the world, and lots of times many third world sorts of countries. And so there's many needs. There's to bless a lot of lives. Today, the projects number in the hundreds for sure. I talked a little bit at our last convention about one of the most amazing projects we've ever done, which was out in Somaliland with the hospital that we just completed. That was truly a miracle project. It's only been operating now for a few months, and already in the first month it saw 2,000 patients and accomplished some very miraculous sorts of things with the people out there. That's a miracle. We built that out there because, of course, we get so much frankincense from Somaliland. Most of our frankincense comes from Somaliland. And those remote harvesting villages out in that region They have no health care. There's about 500 or 600,000 people that have no health care. And so we wanted to bring that to those people out there and try to bless those lives. It's been an amazing success. That's an example of a big project for sure, but dōTERRA does many, many projects similar, maybe smaller, but very impactful around the world.
Yes, I think co-impact sourcing and healing hands is kind of like the core with the dōTERRA. We are so grateful. I, as an employee, also benefit from that. Is there anything else before we, so glad to have you before we close with our visit. Is anything else you wanted to share with us?
Well, I just think, as I think of those who are listening and those who are brand new to dōTERRA and haven't really, are just getting to know the products, the culture, the mission, the values, I would just hope that you would feel like you're at home and understand that there's something bigger. There's something bigger than perhaps they've maybe thought of yet. And as they continue with dōTERRA, they're going to bless a lot of lives. dōTERRA is a strong, stable company, and we're very focused on the same core mission and values that we had when we began. I think dōTERRA is going to grow and become much larger as we continue to share these products and these values and this community around the world. So I hope everyone feels welcome. I hope everyone also believes that this pandemic is going to lift. It will lift, and we will go back to normalcy, whatever that is. And we're excited to be able to see people again and hopefully to see them soon in person.
Yes, we are also looking forward for that day to have all the owners to can visit our regions. Thank you so much, Dave. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, David and Kathy, for that wonderful talk. The dōTERRA culture is one that is focused on the promotion of wellness in homes and communities, education through scientific research, integrity in our dealings with others, and a commitment to giving back. And now to impart on how we share these ideals here in the Philippines, please welcome on screen dōTERRA Gold Leader, Ms. Joanne Landicho.
Hello everyone, my name is John. I am a gold leader. In 2020, Taal volcano erupted. People's lives were affected, including my own family. I am from Taal, Batangas, and my husband is from Agoncillo, Batangas, which is around 4 miles away from the volcano. I remember being scared and confused. It was so surreal. Ashes everywhere, non-stop earthquakes, families being displaced. It was crazy. I personally had to lead both sides of my family to evacuate and find a place that will be comfortable enough, especially for the senior members of our family. I had to be strong, and yet wondering about those who have no means to find a better place to go. I remember telling myself, if only I can help everyone, I would. But the reality is, I can't. And so, when I heard that dōTERRA Healing Hands will do a relief operation for the victims, I was excited and wanted to definitely be part of it. Together with my family, I volunteered. Healing Hands provided some boots, blankets, pillows, food, and much more to hundreds of families being displaced due to the eruption. I felt really sad seeing them in that situation, especially those little kids and elderly. But as we approached them and started talking to them, I have witnessed that despite what they're going through, they have that sincere smile and appreciation to dōTERRA for being there. What they didn't know is, they did not just make us feel good, but rather they made us appreciate more all the simple things that matter. It was an unforgettable experience, and I'm forever grateful to dōTERRA for helping my kababayans. And now, please welcome Vice President for Asia Pacific Markets, Mr. Jonathan Kunz.
Hello to all my friends in the Philippines. It is wonderful to be with you all today. even though it is virtually. I look forward to the day when we can all be back together in person in the same room. However, today I am excited that we are able to have this anniversary event and we're able to celebrate the great things happening in the Philippines, as well as the continued Healing Hands efforts that are taking place there. For those of you that have been around for a while, you know that dōTERRA is all about empowering and helping others. The dōTERRA difference is our culture of sharing and caring. This happens each time you open a bottle of essential oils and share it with a family member or a friend. You have experienced the power of dōTERRA essential oils and are truly caring for those you share with. dōTERRA Healing Hands is also core to how we share and care for others. At dōTERRA, we all share a passion for education, sharing, health, for serving, providing relief, and for empowering. Even before dōTERRA was founded, our owners had personal practices of giving back to the communities where they lived. No wonder when dōTERRA was launched, they had a united vision to change the world through pure oils, pure business practices, pure intentions, and the pure love of humanity. Healing Hands was created to support the literal hundreds of projects throughout the world which are blessing humanity. For those of you who are new, all of Healing Hands' expenses, overhead, and administrative costs are borne by dōTERRA, the company, meaning that 100% of all donations go directly to Healing Hand causes and projects. You can feel great about everything you do with Healing Hands. Let's walk briefly through each of these 7 areas of focus that Healing Hands focuses on. First, providing clean water and sanitation has been an important focus for dōTERRA Healing Hands. Much of the world's population is without dependable access to clean water. As a result, many people are at risk of preventable diseases and deaths. By providing clean water to communities around the world, we not only improve the health of those communities, but also empower children to attend school and receive an education instead of fetching daily water. Over the past several years, wells have been dug, water pipes have been laid, and purification systems have been installed by developing communities throughout the world in over 10 countries, with $312,000 supporting 13 clean water and sanitation projects. Here you can see a water system built in Haiti with a group of farmers who provide us with our beautiful vetiver essential oil. When dōTERRA founders first traveled to Haiti in 2014, they learned from our vetiver farmers that access to clean water was limited. Often these people traveled up to 3 hours to get access to water. We wanted to help and committed to bringing them a clean well. This is a picture of that water project completed in 2015. However, the story doesn't end there. A year later, tragedy struck Haiti, as it has so many times in that country. Hurricane Matthew came through the island and blew down the water tower. As soon as we heard of this, we immediately went right back down to rebuild the water tower a second time, as well as help with the reconstruction of several homes in that area. We are very committed to the long-term support of these good people. Disaster relief is an important area of impact for Healing Hands. As we all know, 2020 was a year for the history books. In addition to what we now refer to as a year of COVID, several disasters impacted communities throughout the world. Many suffering from wildfires, hurricanes, earthquakes, volcano eruptions, and other disasters, and many were displaced because of the pandemic. dōTERRA Wellness Advocates teamed with us to distribute nearly 40,000 emergency relief kits to those in need. In early 2020, Australia was hit by bushfires around the country. dōTERRA Australia Healing Hands donated funds to help fight those fires, along with providing 7,000 emergency relief kits to those affected. Through the generous donations of wellness advocates and Healing Hands, the dōTERRA Philippines office and local wellness advocates built relief kits supporting those affected by the Taal volcano eruption earlier last year. These relief kits included providing clean water, medicines, blankets, pillows, infant and baby diapers, soap, toothpaste, toiletries, slippers, masks, and other needed items. Not only did wellness advocates deliver thousands of emergency relief kits during 2020, but as I just mentioned, we were amazed when in less than 2 weeks, over $250,000 worth of rose lotion and shea butter was purchased in direct support of our front lines when COVID first hit. dōTERRA then donated 100% of the proceeds and tripled the donation to supply $750,000 in support items for nurses, doctors, and first responders. Of course, we could not have done that without many, many wellness advocates who have safe access to deliver the kits in their own communities. In addition to the kits, additional supplies were sent to medical staff, and $1.2 million in cash was donated globally. Many of us have collaborated over the past year to respond to critical needs more quickly and strategically as deficiencies brought on by the pandemic were exposed, especially in projects that empower women. In 2020, dōTERRA Healing Hands donations donated just over $1 million to 34 projects focused on empowering women in 14 countries. Presidential Diamonds in the United States used Healing Hands fundraising match efforts to help with a project they were passionate about supporting in Haiti. Funds raised helped to pay for and install solar panels at a local clinic so there would be light during night births in that area of Haiti. Additionally, a new ambulance was purchased to help transport patients as well as to support other emergencies in the community. Days for Girls is a great partner for Healing Hands and focuses on helping women and girls to have access to menstrual care and education in developing countries. Even during the year of pandemic, dōTERRA wellness advocates have helped assemble feminine hygiene kits like the ones pictured in this photo that were distributed to girls around the globe. We are so excited that because of Healing Hands efforts in conjunction with our partnership with Days for Girls, over 1.7 million young women in over 141 countries around the world have been educated on menstrual care and hygiene. And all of this has been made possible because of you. Of course, global health was another area of great need as we navigated the COVID-19 response. Over $2.1 million went to 67 global health projects in 21 countries in 2020 alone. One of the projects I have been especially excited about is the Sanag Specialty Hospital in Somaliland. As you may know, the majority of our frankincense resins are harvested in Somaliland, primarily in this Sanag region. This area is home to approximately 500,000 people, or 1/3 of Somaliland's total population. Unfortunately, it is also home to one of the world's highest maternal and child mortality rates. 1 in 10 of children die before the age of 5. 1 in 22 women will likely die due to pregnancy or birth-related causes during their lifetime. Earlier this year, the dōTERRA Healing Hands Foundation and its local partners opened the Sanag Specialty Hospital, a nonprofit regional hospital, along with other education and humanitarian initiatives. This first phase of the hospital includes a 45-bed facility and supports accident and emergency, OPD, diagnostics, maternity, and pediatric care. We're grateful that Dave Sterling, our CEO, could be down there recently for the ribbon cutting of that wonderful hospital that's been funded through Healing Hands. A couple years ago, my wife Amy and I had the opportunity to join a group of wellness advocates from Australia to visit Nepal, where we source our beautiful wintergreen oil. While there, we had the opportunity to help build the driveway in front of a hospital expansion being built by Healing Hands. This primary health center in Ramachamp provides immediate access medical care to community members who would otherwise have to travel at least 2 hours with limited public transportation options to the nearest medical facility. This center now benefits at least 3,000 families or 15,000 individuals in the area and includes a heating system and insulation to create a safer birthing and newborn environment. One of our early corporate partners was Mentors International. We love this partnership as they focus their efforts on helping to lift impoverished individuals and families into self-reliant people. Over the past 10 years, millions of dollars in funds have been donated for the purpose of providing microcredit loans to entrepreneurs in developing countries. I love the many stories of people who have benefited from these small business loans. The repayment rate for these loans is very high, and then these funds are provided to additional entrepreneurs to develop their small businesses. This long-term commitment to self-reliance that started in our early years with Mentors International was even more important last year as economies throughout the world were turned upside down. I'm so grateful that we were able to support 27 self-reliant projects in 16 countries, totaling over $1.2 million last year. As you know, one of the major barriers to self-reliance is education. And as we all know, education is very difficult and was difficult last year and even continues to be this year as the world physically distanced and lives and continues to live in quarantines. Although this was a new problem for many throughout the world, it does not change the fact that many children face great challenges beyond education without permanent families, reliable caregivers, medical care, and opportunities to thrive. Education is key for the success of children throughout the world. This is a picture of our most recent school completed in Rwanda. I don't have a picture to show you, but this is the new facility and replaces an old, dilapidated, very rustic elementary building. Hundreds of children are very proud of this new school that we constructed with Healing Hands Foundation in Rwanda. Healing Hands has always supported projects which benefit children. With COVID, this past year made it even more important to support our most vulnerable. Thank you to so many of you who have donated and supported these various projects focused on children. In 2020, over $2.1 million was donated to 46 projects in 21 countries. One of these ongoing wellness advocate projects supported by Healing Hands is in conjunction with Hearts of Joy right there in the Philippines, which provides heart surgery for children and youth with Down syndrome in countries where families can't afford medical care. Additional resources focus efforts to support, provide education to communities, orphanages, caregivers, and parents on the dignity and value of their children with Down syndrome. I love that project. Another partnership we have in the Philippines is with Mabuhay Deseret Foundation, which specializes in cleft lip, palate surgeries, club foot correction, prosthetics, and eye conditions. As part of our partnership with Mabuhay, we provided care packages to 72 staff and patients and 63 hands on doctors in Manila, Luzon, Cebu, and Davao. Additionally, the essential oils support their patients in post-surgeries and empower staff and doctors in their mission to help during this pandemic. I love that project as well. You're doing such wonderful things in the Philippines. We also have a big focus as an organization on trying to stop the sad practice of child trafficking around the world. It's a sad situation that still is occurring in our modern world today. We have some great partners with whom we partner to combat this terrible practice. In the Philippines, we are partners with Lighthouse Sanctuary, which provides a safe haven and professional rehabilitation services for children survivors of sexual abuse and sex trafficking in the Philippines. This helps survivors to successfully reintegrate back into family life and society. Healing Hands provided care packages to 35 staff and patients in the northern Philippines. The essential oils are helping children in their counseling sessions and help to calm those who are dealing with anxiety, nightmares, and flashbacks because of their trauma. Additionally, the Lighthouse Sanctuary is now working on building an activity center, which will support more children who are dealing with this terrible trauma. Your donations, as well as donations of wellness advocates throughout the world, are helping to support this project. dōTERRA Healing Hands' comprehensive model to end human trafficking through prevention, rescue, and aftercare is now known as HOPE. It is important to understand that all three of these areas intertwine and are often difficult to separate when seeking sustainable solutions. Collaboration between law enforcement, victim support specialists, expert witnesses, prosecutors, and so many others is critical in support systems. And HOPE is exemplified through trauma-informed training and care. We are committed as ever to positively impact the end of this terrible practice throughout the world. In addition to the service you provide to others in your daily life, you can contribute to dōTERRA Healing Hands each time you purchase dōTERRA Hope Oil. The full purchase price of Hope Oil, 1,200 Philippine pesos, is donated to the dōTERRA Healing Hands Foundation. Thanks to each one of you for making a difference. Together, as we engage in good, we can further pursue the pure love of humanity as we empower people worldwide to make positive, sustainable change. Thank you for all you do to make your communities and the world better through Healing Hands. We invite all to participate with us as we empower people and communities worldwide to make positive and sustainable changes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jonathan. Today, we thank you for actively engaging in the dōTERRA Healing Hands Foundation's mission to empower people worldwide to make positive, sustainable change. Your loyalty and belief in this mission has led to incredible progress and impact. Now, to introduce another worthy initiative from dōTERRA Philippines, please welcome on stage dōTERRA Philippines Diamond Leader, Miss Queenie Rosales.
Hi, my name is Queenie and I am a Diamond Leader. Before dōTERRA, I had no personal encounter with farmers. I grew up as a city girl. That's my only excuse. However, since I started doing product demos, I was literally able to scout even the most remote barangays, barrios, and rural areas in our town. That's when I met the farmers face to face. It was not just a casual conversation. I witnessed how hard they work just to provide food and other agricultural products, not just for their own family, but to us as well. Working as a farmer can cause some health issues like body discomfort that make them unproductive and unhappy. It is tough. And the thing is, because farming is their main source of living, despite the pain, they don't have a choice but to still get up and work every single day. I am so glad to be able to introduce them to dōTERRA. I kid you not. When they first tried oregano with fractionated coconut oil, I saw how their faces lit up and smiled. And they asked, "What is this?" Some instantly even say, "My pain is gone." I was just amazed as they were. We have this product that can support and help them manage and provide wellness solution. And it is not just that. It also helps with their emotions and yes, the entire family as well. I am very grateful to be part of dōTERRA because of its amazing product and culture. But most importantly, because of its co-impact sourcing. Co-impact sourcing has helped farmers sustainable jobs. It is a long-term partnership with them. They provide us the raw materials for the oils, and in turn, dōTERRA provide with a reliable income through on-time payments at fair prices, so they're not taken advantage of. And now, Please welcome Senior Director of Strategic Sourcing, Mr. Tim Valentiner.
Hello, my name is Tim Valentiner. I'm the Vice President of Global Strategic Sourcing for dōTERRA, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to share with you something about which I'm incredibly passionate. dōTERRA's purpose and mission is to source pure and natural essential oils of the highest quality in the quantity to sustain your needs while also impacting those behind the bottle. Ethical and sustainable sourcing is the foundation of our sourcing strategy as a company, but it is also a vital differentiator of dōTERRA's mission and identity of doing good in a sustainable way all around the world. Sustainable sourcing allows us to support our growth as a company and to allow for new blends and products to be launched on a regular basis. To do so, we have a set of long-term relationships with contracted farmers and distillers, which form our growing global botanical network of sourcing partners. dōTERRA works very closely with this network of experts on the ground who have the expertise and who have grown or harvested essential oil crops in some cases for multiple generations. This allows us to proudly support thousands and thousands of jobs around the world. Because of this global botanical network, we now source over 170 different origin oils in 47 countries, many of which are highlighted on this map. The diversity in sourcing areas and the people involved in this network is incredible. Alongside our sourcing partners, we concentrate our efforts on the same goals, and that is through our co-impact sourcing program. Co-impact sourcing creates shared value for all stakeholders in the supply chain by being at the source and intentionally implementing environmental stewardship and/or social impact initiatives. As is hopefully evident, we spend a tremendous amount of time, effort, and resources in being at the source for all our oils and working closely with partner farmers and distillers. This is the cornerstone of how we are truly different as a company and how we can ensure that what we say is in the bottle is really in the bottle. And while this remains a lofty goal for far too many companies, this is the foundation of what you all expect from dōTERRA products. For our co-impact sourced oils, we are not only at the source, but we are also intentionally implementing environmental stewardship and/or social impact initiatives. For environmental stewardship, we focus on sustainability initiatives and intensive programs to ensure we are not only complying with national and international standards, but also innovating in how we preserve wild harvested plants, mitigate the spread of invasive species, reduce our environmental footprint, and provide comprehensive training for harvesters and distillers. Our social impact initiatives as part of our co-impact sourcing program are programs where we can help the most as we source the best by focusing on small farmers and farming cooperatives, as well as empowering women, particularly in rural areas. We do this through job creation, fair and on-time payments, training farmers, ensuring fair labor conditions, and supporting social impact projects and programs funded by your donations to dōTERRA Healing Hands. We have summarized our vision and approach for sourcing the best and helping the most in what we call our 8 sourcing guiding principles, all found in more detail, by the way, on www.sourcetoyou.com. They are first, generating jobs. Second, providing fair and on-time payments. Third, building supplier capacity. And fourth, sustaining long-term partnerships with farmers and distillers who share our same commitment to pure and natural oils and who want to grow with us. The reality is if we were a company interested in only profit and the easy route, we would not be focused on these principles. I can tell you that it would be much easier, given all that goes into oil production, to just buy large tracts of land and build massive commercial farms and distilleries in much more cost-effective regions of the world. But that's neither our goal nor the way in which we can help the most. We prioritize empowering hundreds of thousands of small farmers and harvesters that are life dependent on these crops and oils and our commitment to them. And through contracting and supporting the distillers that work with them, we are able to provide the opportunity they all need to lift themselves and their communities out of poverty. Guiding principles 5 through 8 outline further how we focus through co-impact sourcing to help the most. This is through ensuring fair labor conditions, promoting farmer cooperatives, ensuring environmental stewardship, and again through dōTERRA Healing Hands and other donors, facilitating social impact projects like schools, hospitals, clean water systems, vocational training centers, and more. All critical needs that can help improve livelihoods in areas of the world where we can make a tremendous impact. Now, I'd love to highlight some examples of specific sourcing initiatives we are doing around the world. And although some of these products may not be launched yet in their markets, I still wanted to help illustrate how they are helping us fulfill co-impact sourcing. First, I would like to show you what we are doing together with our amazing partner in Albania for Helichrysum, both the Helichrysum Touch 5 ml, the Helichrysum 5 ml single oil and the Helichrysum Touch. Due to its location in the Balkan Mountains along the Mediterranean Sea, Albania has both the right climate and fertile soil that contribute to producing the highest quality helichrysum. The flowers and stems are harvested in late June through July, and then they are steam distilled. Our partners have made a huge positive impact in the treatment of helichrysum farmers in the region. Through partnering with dōTERRA, our partners have been able to provide fair payments to farmers within 48 hours of receiving their raw material. Farmers are also offered 3 to 5 year long contracts, which help absorb price fluctuations and mean that farmers have a guaranteed buyer for more than just one season, which makes all the difference for a small farmer. And our partner provides technical support to help improve farming practices. With these on-time payments and long-term contracts, farmers can invest in their fields and plan for their future. Take, for example, this farmer, this beautiful, amazing woman that I met in northern Albania this past harvest season. This is Lene, a 62-year-old small-scale farmer who, by growing helichrysum instead of other traditional but less reliable crops, was able to triple her household income after just 1 year of production several years back. But now she is expanding her fields to even improve her income further. She is the primary breadwinner for her family and was actually the top yielding farmer of the more than 220 small farmers in Albania this past harvest season. Because of these fair and reliable practices, the number of small farmers growing helichrysum for our partner in Albania has grown from just 15 contracted farmers in 2015 to more than 220 in 2021. 85 of whom are women, which is absolutely awesome. Healing Hands has also been able to fund various projects in Albania, including earthquake relief efforts in 2019 after a devastating earthquake there, as well as a training program focused on anti-human trafficking for youth and social workers. Now, in New Zealand, we have a wonderful example of an environmental stewardship initiative with Douglas fir oil. Douglas fir trees were introduced to New Zealand by the timber industry in the early 1900s. It grew so well that outside of permitted, well-tended plantations, the trees are now considered an invasive species, taking over mountainsides and crowding out native species. dōTERRA's Douglas fir oil is produced by dōTERRA, which is a 100% dōTERRA-owned entity and distillery. dōTERRA harvests young Douglas fir trees from private land and, in coordination with municipal governments, collects branches and needles from recently felled trees as part of a sustainably managed plantation. The needles are then distilled using a mobile distillation unit to produce the essential oil. The production of Douglas fir essential oil from these wilding trees not only prevents further spread of unwanted trees, but also provides a sustainable outlet for their removal, allowing the regeneration of native species and the preservation of New Zealand's amazing and unique biodiversity. Now, I'm sure if you were able to watch part of our convention that was here in Utah recently, you were probably very excited along with us with this new product, this Madagascar Vanilla 5 ml, which we have been working on for many years now. Vanilla is a species of orchid with a vine that requires some sort of support to grow, usually a tree. Although native to Mexico and Guatemala, where it is naturally pollinated by a specific bee species, the vanilla orchid and flowers grow well in Madagascar, where it is pollinated by hand. This is amazing to think about the time and care that this whole process requires, especially when you learn that each vanilla flower only blooms for 1 day out of the entire year. Because the flower is so fragile and these bees are not present, it must be pollinated in the morning when the weather is cooler, and if it isn't pollinated, then it will wilt and there will be no vanilla being produced until the next flowering the following year. The production process for vanilla is long and very complicated, but to quickly tell you a bit about the rest of the process after pollination, the vanilla bean pod takes 9 months to mature, whereafter it is hand-picked. The beans are then dipped in boiling water to stop its development, a process known as killing. After this, the pods stay in wooden boxes for 1 to 2 days, where they soften and turn the dark amber color you're probably most familiar with. This step is known as sweating, after which the pods are dried for 10 days in the sun and then 2 months in the shade. Next, they are conditioned, sorted, and stored for 2 to 3 months to fully develop their flavor and aroma. Once the beans are fully mature, they're ready for shipment. And for the next step in the process is to produce doTERRA's Vanilla Absolute, which is done through a CO2 or supercritical fluid extraction process. In this process, the vanilla beans are finely ground and placed into an extraction vessel where highly pressurized CO2 is pumped in a supercritical format. Under this high pressure, the CO2 as a supercritical fluid can act as both a liquid and a gas, both flowing through the vanilla beans and separating the volatile and non-volatile compounds, but then also separating from them. The CO2 supercritical fluid exits the extraction vessel with the extracted vanilla that we're trying to capture. The temperature and pressure drop, and then the CO2 becomes a gas again, releasing the vanilla extract. This CO2 can then be recycled and reused, so it is a totally closed loop process, and we're not losing any of this CO2 supercritical fluid as a result. This is not the final step, however. To ensure that the vanilla is in its purest form and has the most concentrated natural vanillin possible, it goes through a final alcohol extraction, leaving behind the final product, a pure and natural vanilla absolute, which is truly the highest quality anywhere else in the world. What is most amazing but also shocking is that of about 95% or more of the vanilla flavoring that is used in foods and other products that we all use sometimes on a daily basis around the world, it is not actually vanilla. It is just a substitute and often synthetically created. This is probably shocking, I'm sure, to learn. But of the actual real vanilla that is produced globally, about 80% of all of it comes from Madagascar. And this is why we knew we needed to focus our efforts here and work in conjunction with our partner in order to produce the very highest quality vanilla beans that would result in the very highest quality vanilla absolute through this CO2 extraction process. Now, this amazing product also has an amazing social impact component to it. All of this wouldn't be possible without our amazing partners on the ground in Madagascar. And we're glad that we have the opportunity to partner with them, not only in the sourcing of this vanilla absolute, but also in benefiting vanilla communities in Madagascar. To better support the farming communities in the Sava region of northern Madagascar, where our vanilla comes from, and is made through almost 80,000 farmers that focus on vanilla in this region, our partners have developed a school to provide agricultural education for teenagers from many of these vanilla growing families. The schooling lasts for 3 years and provides these young future farmers with a solid agricultural background so that they can sustainably diversify their production, not only relying on vanilla, but other crops, and learning other important skills like financial management. This allows them to confidently expand their production and continue the long legacy of family farming in these rural areas where vanilla and other crops can thrive. doTERRA Healing Hands has always been committed to empowering individuals to help themselves, their families, and their communities. And so through our partnership and support of this training center, which is known as the Mahadera Agricultural Training Center, we are confident that farmers in Madagascar are going to be able to continue to better build a life for themselves through our partnership with them and through this brand new vanilla product, which is launched in this 5 ml format, but also is the vanilla ingredient that's included in all of our blends that have vanilla in it moving forward. Now, I'd love to shift for the end of my presentation to talk a little bit more about our co-impact sourcing program and a new addition that we're adding to it through a scorecard. But this co-impact sourcing approach that we are taking is innovative. No one else is doing it, and no one is asking us to do it. But we proactively sought and created this path. and we're fully committed to it for all the right reasons, and we know that you are too. Over the years, we've been searching for a standard or certification that captures all we are doing, but there simply isn't one. So I'm excited to announce that after years of research and work, we have developed a program called the Co-Impact Sourcing Expansion Program, which includes a detailed and comprehensive scorecard. Through this scorecard, we have a framework for auditing our partners to increase transparency and truly measure the impact being made around the world. This will help us level up our ethical sourcing practices even more. Over the next 5 years, our target is to audit and score all of our partners' essential oil supply chains, more than 270 of them, and we have already started. We launched our pilot program at the beginning of 2021. The scoring is done under 3 categories: at the source, environmental stewardship, and social impact. And then bonus points are given for any third-party certifications that our partners obtain, for a total possible score of 115 points. We are approaching this with a carrot and not a stick, though. And in true partnership with our oil suppliers, we are offering up to 75% match funding for any supply chain improvements identified through what we are calling our Co-Impact Sourcing Challenge Fund. We help our suppliers identify where they can improve, they present a detailed plan of what's needed, and we help them fund their plan. We truly believe that when everyone in the supply chain succeeds, we all win. And we believe in investing in these partners who share our same ethos and priorities for sourcing the best and helping the most. Our ambitious plan is to ensure that a minimum of 95% of our partner supply chains meet at least the silver CIS standard and eventually reach the gold and then diamond CIS standards with our support. dōTERRA will continue to level up and set the highest standard in our industry, and you can trust that we are committed to continue leading in this charge. dōTERRA knows what it takes to create pure and potent essential oils, and we have the drive to make the world a better place. By caring about our production practices, environmental stewardship, and social impact, we are producing the best essential oils on the planet in the best possible way. And with this transparency comes responsibility. We know you will appreciate the high expectations we have for our sourcing partners, and in turn the expectations we place on ourselves. Through our co-impact sourcing efforts globally and the social impact programs that we've built in these sourcing communities through dōTERRA Healing Hands, we've been able to directly impact nearly 3 million people. This is through the jobs created and supported by co-impact sourcing, the family these jobs support, as well as the community beneficiaries from dōTERRA Healing Hands funded projects. And this will only continue to grow, of course. To close, we are excited to announce that the CIS scorecard overview, the co-impact sourcing diagrams I've shown today, the latest sourcing map, as well as some beautifully done co-impact sourcing brochures, including 2 brand new brochures on our Albania and India co-impact sourcing initiatives, can be found on the continuously new and improved source2u.com site, as well as on dōTERRA.com. Please visit these sites and, of course, the sites in your local markets, and especially the sourcing sections that are often found under what's called resources, to find the latest and greatest on our sourcing initiatives globally. Co-impact sourcing is at the heart of what we do and the way we do it. This is our why. I personally come to work every day knowing that we are making a difference in the lives of hundreds of thousands of farmers and harvesters, and all of this is because of you. And you can know that you play a role in what makes dōTERRA different as a change maker for good in the world, both in terms of health and wellness, but also social impact and blessing lives on both sides of the bottle. And now through this new co-impact sourcing expansion program and our scorecard, we're going to be able to now more effectively than ever truly measure and know the impact we are having in improving lives and making the world a better place. Thank you so much for all that you do together with us every day to make this a reality of blessing both sides of the bottle. And I hope very soon to see you all in person as soon as that is possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tim. In addition to supplying the highest quality essential oils, we are committed to making a positive difference in the lives of farmers, harvesters, and distillers who contribute to dōTERRA's oil production. now sharing her story on the importance of science in understanding essential oils. Please welcome on screen dōTERRA Philippines founder and diamond leader, Miss Colette Go.
Thank you, Vanessa, for a wonderful introduction. So, are you all excited and ready to learn more? Speaking of science, I remember it over a year ago when I decided to deepen my knowledge in what I do as I became a functional medicine health coach. Quality education matters in all that I do as I work with medical doctors, healthcare professionals, patients, and anyone who want to get unstuck and be empowered in terms of their health. I give the best and helping the most back up with scientific studies. Isn't that amazing when you find the right vehicle in making your dreams happen? Just like you and me, as we strive for the best to pursue our mission, integrity and quality are what set dōTERRA apart from other brands. We take considerate care in ensuring our products meet the highest standards. Through our rigorous testing processes, dōTERRA ensures in providing you the best in all that we do. And to help us understand more about our essential oil breakthroughs in research, please welcome Chief Medical Officer of Medical and Scientific Initiatives, Dr. Russell Osgathorpe.
It is such a pleasure to be with you, dōTERRA. I am Dr. Russell Osgathorpe, and I cannot tell you how grateful I am for the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about research and where we're taking dōTERRA over the next few years. I thought what I'd do briefly is introduce myself a little bit to you. I know that I've been here for 2 or 3 years, but Jonathan Coons asked me to make sure that you knew why I came to dōTERRA. And what we're going to be talking about today is really the why, or a big part of the why I came to dōTERRA. Prior to coming to dōTERRA, I was a pediatric infectious disease doctor and a pediatric medical director for a large healthcare system in the Intermountain West. As such, I was over dozens of physicians and building programs and establishing care process models in large tertiary care medical centers for the care of pediatric patients. I loved that work with all my heart. And as my career progressed, I was able to do more and more on the administrative side. And I learned a whole lot about how medical care actually works as a business and at the bedside. This unique kind of combination of my career of both being at the bedside and in the administrative arena kind of instilled within me a desire to learn more and to do more to reform the problems that I saw and encountered in healthcare every day. I was offered a job as the pediatric medical director for a children's hospital that I had been instrumental in helping to establish in the state of Utah. And that was my dream job. Just at the same time, Greg Cook and Dave Sterling began recruiting me to come to dōTERRA and to be their chief medical officer. That was a very big departure for me, but the vision of Greg and Dave and the owners of where they wanted to take dōTERRA and where they wanted to move healthcare was very attractive to me. And so I jumped into the deep end of the pool and came to dōTERRA, and I have not looked back. It's been almost 3 years that I've been the chief medical officer of dōTERRA, working close alongside Dr. Hill, Emily Wright, Dave, and all the other owners to move this ship forward and to find our new course, using today one of our strategic initiatives, research. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about where research is taking dōTERRA, what research we have recently accomplished that is really exciting, and what we plan to do with that research paradigm moving forward. The whole goal here is to help those you know, change their minds about dōTERRA if they have been hesitant in the past. So let's talk a little bit about how we do that. First, I want to help everybody to remember a statement I made at convention a couple of years ago, where I said that adulteration is criminal. I want to make sure you understand why I said that. essential oils have come so far since doTERRA helped bring them into the mainstream and make them a thing. That process, however, was full of ups and downs, and doTERRA discovered along the way that so much work had to be done in the pursuit of purity to make sure that the essential oils that we sell to you are pure, unadulterated, potent, and consistent. That process became core to who doTERRA is, and we're really the only company that has done that level of work. And I'm going to show you that today in peer-reviewed, published research in a major scientific journal for our lavender essential oil. But that is one of the reasons why I came to doTERRA, is because that hard work had been done. You cannot do medical scientific research on an inconsistent, adulterated product. The institutional review boards who govern the safety of clinical human trials would not allow any essential oil to be administered orally to a patient to determine if it had an effect, if that essential oil varied widely in its dose or potency or consistency, or if it was full of substances that were either synthetic or adulterated. And so for me, this was the only company where we could do this work, because they are the only ones, doTERRA is the only company who's actually cracked this code of figuring out how to deliver not only a pure essential oil, but one that is consistent in its chemistry. Other essential oil manufacturers cut their oils. They will use synthetics to boost their yields, and that process will lead to you ingesting or putting onto or breathing into your body something that could be potentially harmful. And that's why I'm so passionate about this statement of saying that adulteration is criminal. So what are we doing in the research arena to take doTERRA into this new era of scientific discovery and research? First, we do studies on essential oils that prove them to be the gold standard for purity. And we've done this with lavender essential oil, and I'll show you how that study looks and works in a couple of slides from here. Second thing we need to do is we need to show in peer-reviewed published scientific data that our oil is consistent in its chemistry. Consistency used to be something that people thought was impossible in a natural product like an essential oil, because nature, microclimates, environments, pestilences, floods, famines, they change wildly the chemistry of an essential oil. And that was what was used as an excuse for poor quality essential oils in the past. But doTERRA has cracked the code for consistency, and I'll show you that with our lavender oil data. Third, we do what is now called a pharmacokinetic study, or a dosing study, where we determine scientifically what the appropriate dose of an essential oil is based on its constituent chemistry. The fourth study that we will do is a delivery-based assay, where we will look at novel delivery methods that will allow that potent chemistry to be more bioavailable for you and your family. And lastly, our plan is to do major medical efficacy studies with essential oils using research partners at either research institutions or clinical research organizations. This is the pathway that we will take lavender on, and then further essential oils in the future. We'll move exactly on this pathway as I've outlined, separating ourselves from the other makers of essential oils that can't go where we are going. So let's look then at this first study that establishes doTERRA as the gold standard for purity in the essential oil industry for lavender essential oil. As you can see here on this slide, this study was published in the Journal of Pharmaceutical and Biomedical Analysis, a major pharmaceutical journal, and it's published by Dr. Ikhlas Khan as the last author or corresponding author, who is the head and chair of the National Center for Natural Product Research at the University of Mississippi's School of Pharmacy. That School of Pharmacy is the #4 school of pharmacy based on NIH funding in the United States of America. So it is a very large, reputable organization. Within that pharmacy school is housed the National Center for Natural Product Research that Dr. Ikhlas Khan leads. Dr. Khan leads hundreds of scientists focused only on natural products. So looking at essential oils scientifically is their expertise, and we're so excited to be partnered with them to do this research. Let's look at some of the data. So what this data showed that was published just earlier this year was that when we look at doTERRA's oils, highlighted in the green box here, these are all doTERRA's oils, and they all measure with a quality index score. This is the score on the right-hand side of that box, with a score over 100, indicating that doTERRA's oils are all 100% pure and of high quality. If you look at the other side of this screen, now highlighted in the green box, what you will see are 32 of the commercially available lavender essential oils on the marketplace today. And of those 32, 2/3 of those essential oils had a Q index or a quality index score less than 100, meaning that they were poor quality oils or were highly adulterated. So really, when you buy an essential oil off the marketplace, if you're not buying doTERRA's oil, you are taking risk with your family's health by potentially ingesting adulterated synthetic compounds that could be potentially harmful to your family's health. That is why we do medical science and research on doTERRA essential oils like lavender rather than other companies. No other company can do what we're doing. Now let's look at consistency. Consistency is incredibly important, for if you want to do medical scientific research on human beings, you can't give a dose of an essential oil that has a potency index of X and then have it decrease the next month and increase the next month. That would be ridiculous. We literally cannot do scientific analysis on any disease state or on any wellness state if the person is not capable, or if the company is not capable of delivering the exact same amount of that potent chemistry in each and every capsule. This is what doTERRA has been able to do. This is that graph that I showed you previously that shows that doTERRA oils were all of high quality and are the gold standard upon which the whole world now is measured in that scientific article referenced below. Now, let's look at how consistent the chemistry is in doTERRA's oils. Here are all of the compounds identified by GCMS in that previously mentioned article published in the Journal of Pharmaceutical and Biomedical Analysis. This table lists every compound that is in lavender essential oil. However, we know that the two most important compounds in lavender essential oil are linalool and linaloyl acetate. So let's look at those two. When we look at those two highlighted in the green box here, what you can see over on the right-hand side of the screen are all of the samples of oil labeled from 586 to 598. These are doTERRA's oils. And if you look at the percentage of linalool and linaloyl acetate across every sample, which is multiple batches over multiple years, you will see that we have cracked the code to consistency. We are delivering basically the same amount of linalool and linaloyl acetate in every capsule of lavender we create. No other company can do this because they vary so widely batch to batch and year to year. When Dr. Hill and I were so passionate about this, talking about this together, we realized that we are taking essential oils a place where no other company can go. We're essentially going to another playing field and locking the door behind us. No other company can get to where we are because they just haven't done the work necessary. This is why I'm here at doTERRA, is because I can do medical scientific analysis on human clinical trials with treating these essential oils as medical interventions because of this type of purity and this type of consistency. I should say before I move on that in this article we looked at 7 or 8 samples of lavender, but I've actually had Dr. Prabodh Satyal at Essential Oil Science here at doTERRA do a massive analysis of every batch of lavender oil we've produced in the last 4 years. It was over 100 samples, batches of lavender, and he looked at the standard deviation. For linalool, it was 1.2%. For linaloyl acetate, it was 1.9%. That type of consistency, batch to batch, year to year, is truly the gold standard for consistency in essential oils throughout the world. So now let's look at the next study in the paradigm of our research sequence that I talked about at the very first part of the talk. This is study 3, where we look at pharmacokinetics or dosing. So we have completed a human trial using dōTERRA's lavender essential oil internally dosed and are measuring the amount of linalool in the bloodstream of every patient that received it. There were multiple groups and multiple delivery methods, but I'm just going to show you a little bit of this data because it has not yet been peer-reviewed and published. We plan on doing that later this year. But I'm so excited about the data, I want to show you some of it because it's really, really neat stuff. So what we're looking at here, when we look at lavender essential oil versus giving another group of human beings pure synthetic linalool, you can see that the dose of lavender essential oil allows much more bioavailability of linalool than linalool itself. If we use linalool, we get a little less than half the amount of linalool into the bloodstream than if you give the whole essential oil. This is really exciting data because what it shows is that the whole essential oil is more bioavailable, hence more potent and powerful than the synthetic molecule all on its own. And this is something that you may have thought we already knew, but there's never been any data published on this before. And so we look forward to seeing this in print, showing people what we already know and understand, which is that natural and the whole essential oil is more potent than the synthetic. Here's another way of looking at this data by using Cmax. I've blown this up so you can see it more closely. You can see that when we compare lavender essential oil to linalool, the C maximum of lavender essential oil, or the maximum concentration that is achieved in the bloodstream with the whole essential oil, is 143. With linalool, it's 85, the synthetic version of linalool. So we are achieving much higher bioavailability with a natural whole essential oil than the synthetic. The area under the curve is also different significantly. The half-life is where we get dosing from. So the T1/2 is the half-life. What you can see here is that the half-life of an internally dosed dose of lavender essential oil is approximately 3 hours, indicating that for optimal dosing for conditions that we would want to treat or improve in our lives, we would take lavender at least twice a day internally. Studies 4 and 5 are the studies that we talk about with a new novel delivery method, as well as an efficacy trial that will be completed in the future on lavender essential oil. Dr. Nicole Stevens has been working closely with me on this, and she will be talking more about this in the future, either at this convention or at future dōTERRA conventions. I look forward to discussing with you the results of these studies. They're going to be groundbreaking for us, changing the game yet again for how essential oils are viewed. So, to summarize, we have discussed with you today the research sequence and paradigm that will be a strategic shift and change for how dōTERRA will legitimize, as well as use peer-reviewed, published scientific data to show that dōTERRA essential oils, not just with lavender, but with a sequence of them, 1 or 2 a year after now, we will show that in the first study that we are the gold standard for purity. Number 2, we will show that our chemistry is consistent within that essential oil and that it can be relied on for you and your family, dose to dose, batch to batch, year to year. Third, we will give human clinical trial data on how we should internally dose an essential oil, something that has never been done before in pharmaceutical research on essential oils. We will be leading, not following. Nobody else is doing this. Nobody else can. Fourth, we will come up with novel delivery mechanisms that will allow us to, instead of just using veggie capsules or to be putting a drop of oil into a smoothie or into a glass of water, we will come up with novel delivery methods that will make the chemistry more bioavailable, thus more potent and powerful for your health and wellness. And then fifth, we will then work on efficacy studies where we will take essential oils that have followed this paradigm and as the crown, of our research paradigm, we will do what is a very difficult, often very expensive, clinical medical efficacy study using that essential oil to legitimize its use in our homes and in medical settings. Our families deserve the very best. dōTERRA provides the gold standard for quality, consistency, and purity in essential oils. If there's one thing I want you to take away from today's message, it is that peer-reviewed published scientific data shows that dōTERRA's lavender essential oil is the gold standard for purity, and that we've cracked the code for consistency. And for the first time, we've proven that whole lavender oil is better absorbed than synthetics. I so appreciate this time that I've had with you. I look forward to following up with you and giving you even more exciting data that you can share with your friends, and especially those folks that need this sort of scientific gravitas and weight to understand and utilize essential oils in their own home. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Osgothorpe. Indeed, dōTERRA's scientific processes and research have reached a consistency of purity and industry manufacturing standards. The use of essential oils is truly rewarding. And to talk more about opportunities to manage your individual health, please welcome on screen dōTERRA Diamond Leader, Ms. S.P. Pasigan.
dōTERRA's mission hinges on discovering and developing the world's highest quality essential oils and related natural wellness products. We accomplish this with a professional team of in-house scientists as well as highly accomplished medical advisors. I have personally visited the dōTERRA Science Department and witnessed the process, from the barrels of oils to rigorous testing of every single batch of oils coming in, the bottling, the labeling. It was really amazing. I am not a science major nor love science. Well, that was before. And I have to be honest, I have a confession to make. I have been attending convention for 10 years, and during the first couple of years, I would actually skip science topics. Yeah, I know. But as I grew with dōTERRA and having to use and experience its products and the power that it can do to people, how it helped me and my family's health, and witnessing actually millions of people's life got changed for the better, I became more and more interested with the science behind essential oil. And I have found them fascinating. dōTERRA products are all supported by research. If you explore our sites, you will find a lot of science topics like cell function, chemical constituents, nature, sourcing, and much more. As one of dōTERRA's wellness advocates, I am proud to be part of this company who have invested a lot of resources on this area. dōTERRA has the most amazing and talented scientists and researchers who have committed themselves to dōTERRA's vision of providing us with the most tested, most trusted products in the world. And now, to share her expertise on dōTERRA essential oil science, please welcome dōTERRA's Director of Clinical Research, Dr. Nicole Stevens.
Hello, my name is Dr. Nicole Stevens, and I'm the Director of Clinical Research at dōTERRA International. I'm excited to be with you today to talk about some perspectives in essential oil research. Where have we been? Where are we going? I'd like to focus on some of the studies that the scientific teams at dōTERRA are contributing to the general science of essential oils. And we'll also talk about some of the gaps in current research and some future directions. Before we dive in, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've been researching essential oils for more than 20 years, since I discovered the oils as a young graduate student. I earned my master's degree in botany from Brigham Young University in Utah, and went on to earn a PhD in biochemistry and molecular biology from the University of Miami Miller School of Medicine. I've had the opportunity to spend some of my career teaching chemistry and laboratory science, but the majority of my time, and really my true professional love, is in research. My work in scientific research labs has introduced me to everything from cancer biology to cell cultures of all types to handling human specimens. Certifications as a phlebotomist, an IV technician, a clinical research professional, and a certified principal investigator have prepared me for a career in clinical research, and it has been an amazing journey. So, let's talk about the research now. First, where have we been? The use of essential oils dates back thousands of years, with records of use in Egyptian, Chinese, Indian, Greek, Roman, European, and many other cultures. The research of essential oils is somewhat newer, although still rooted in antiquity, and based on herbalist guides written by scientists around the world. Some of the earliest essential oil clinical research is attributed to the French chemist René Maurice Gattefossé. During a laboratory fire in 1910, Gattefossé burned his hand. He found that lavender oil immediately reduced the pain of the burn and helped his hand heal without scarring, or so the story goes. His research inspired other doctors and chemists to continue investigating how essential oils may be used as complementary therapies in human health. Incidentally, it was also Gattefossé who coined the phrase aromatherapy in 1937. His book on the subject continues to be an influential tome in the field. Since those early days, thousands of papers have been published on essential oils, their chemistry, ecology, variability, and biochemical behavior. Still, relatively few human clinical studies have been published, and the majority of research focuses on essential oils in vitro, in silico, and animal models. This search shown here pulled up more than 22,000 papers on essential oil research, with fewer than 2% representing human clinical studies. These numbers may be different using different search parameters, but the results would be about the same. Human clinical studies on essential oils make up just a fraction of the available data. But look at the trend. Interest in essential oil science appears to be increasing exponentially over the past handful of decades or so. That leads us to an examination of the gaps that remain in the essential oil research landscape. Human studies involving essential oils remain one of the most critical needs. Our species has been using essential oils for centuries, maybe millennia. So some may argue that we do in fact have a large body of experiential and anecdotal evidence, which is true. But additional randomized controlled studies will yield valuable information that will allow for better understanding, safe usage, and even possibly generalization about how essential oils work. Among human clinical studies, the most underrepresented are studies involving internal use. The three main usage models of essential oils include topical, internal, and aromatic delivery. Many people think of the aromatic delivery when they hear the word aromatherapy, but the other types of delivery may offer different benefits. This is something that requires a great deal more research, particularly for internal use. We don't yet understand all the implications and effects when essential oils are used in any of these models. How do essential oils affect the human body when used long-term? Because these oils have been in our environment and our diet since time immemorial, it's tempting to assume that they are fine to use long-term, and that may be absolutely true. But empirical data regarding which oils, how much oil is safe, how long-term of use will become critical as aromatherapy continues to gain popularity in holistic medicine. We have very little research on essential oil use in special groups as well, such as pregnant women and unborn babies, children, the elderly, and those with specific diseases. Can essential oils be used in conjunction with medications and standard of care? Are the effects of essential oils variable with age or gender? Are they safe to use during pregnancy or breastfeeding? We don't have answers to all these questions yet, but we are making headway in these areas as more scientists become interested in essential oil research. Finally, we are lacking in a great deal of foundational research in essential oil science. Let's talk about this idea for a moment. Ideally, the stream of study design would flow in a linear fashion, with studies building upon themselves. We'd start with in silico studies, meaning in computers, to predict possible interactions, and follow those with in vitro studies, meaning in petri dishes and test tubes, to confirm pathways and mechanisms of action. This would lead into in vivo studies in animals or pilot studies in humans that would eventually guide the design of larger phase 2 and phase 3 studies on safety and efficacy in specific groups. Post-market surveillance studies, sometimes referred to as phase 4 studies, help us understand a broad application of a new treatment. This logical flow helps us ask questions, gather specific data, note interesting aberrations from the expectation, and carefully track outcomes. This controlled method of essential oil preclinical and clinical research is the ideal. In actuality, the path of most clinical research is a bit more complicated. Clinical studies may be based upon anecdotal reports or historical usage models rather than foundational research. In silico and in vitro studies may never lead to clinical trials. Something discovered in a phase 1 or a phase 2 trial may require going back to the drawing board. The bottom line is, we have lots of gaps to fill in, both because essential oil science is relatively young and because the pathway of discovery can sometimes be sporadic and unpredictable. The exciting news is that this creates numerous opportunities for us to bridge some of these gaps and contribute meaningfully to the field of essential oil science. dōTERRA is an essential oil company that was formed in 2008. Since its inception, dōTERRA's vision has focused firmly not only upon providing the highest quality essential oil products in the world, but also on driving essential oil research and discovery. I want to talk about a few ways that makes dōTERRA different from other essential oil companies. For one thing, the founding executives recognize the fine line that essential oils must straddle when it comes to science. In dealing with complex natural products, we expect some degree of variability from one season or region to the next. How do we reconcile the native inconsistency of natural products to the scientific need for reproducibility? dōTERRA's answer came by changing the way we source our oils. Rather than depend on brokers for our oils, dōTERRA's sourcing team has established its own supply chains that allow full visibility into the growth, harvesting, handling, and distilling of our oils. This has allowed us to pursue consistency within the constraints of a natural product, reproducible levels of natural constituents within the essential oil that can then yield reproducible results in scientific study. Another differentiating factor for the scientists at dōTERRA includes a deeper understanding of the factors that influence essential oil chemistry. We've made careful study of the many environmental factors that can play a role in the final makeup of an oil, including plant variety, sunlight, moisture, soil conditions, altitude, local pathogens and pests, light-dark cycles, harvest time, drying time, storage conditions, distillation conditions, handling, bottling, and the age of the oil, to name but a few. Decades ago, as a young master's degree student in botany, I remember studying these seemingly endless variables contributing to essential oil chemistry and lamenting how difficult it was to obtain consistent results in my experiments. In fact, some of my earliest experiments study this very thing, how growing and environmental conditions can greatly affect essential oil chemistry of rosemary plants in that case. It was refreshing and exciting to find an essential oil company who took these things into account and could actually produce a more reliable natural product. Finally, dōTERRA is interested not only in providing the highest quality products backed by scientific validation, but in contributing to the advancement of essential oil science in general. Let's talk about some of the recent essential oil studies and how they are spurring additional research and excitement. We'll start off by discussing a few key preclinical studies that have led to additional research and have opened some interesting paths of inquiry. These are studies that serve to provide foundational information upon which we can build clinical studies. This includes things like in vitro cell models in petri dishes or test tubes, and even in silico models using computer programs only. Remember, these can be foundational studies, They're excellent to have at the front end of a research pathway, and they can provide a plethora of information very quickly. We'll start by mentioning some in silico studies. Rapidly developing technology has given us amazing tools for analyzing and predicting protein interactions before we even seed a petri dish. Using protein structure models that have been constructed from information gathered during X-ray crystallography, sophisticated computer programs can predict whether ligands, or small chemicals, are likely to interact with a protein. It's a process called molecular docking. Many key enzymes within our bodies have an active site. This is where the action happens and the enzyme carries out its function. And one or more allosteric sites that may serve as modulators of activity. So we want to know, how do the small molecules of drugs and natural products interact with these sites on enzymes? How are they likely to change the activity of the protein? We are asking those questions and discovering ways in which essential oil constituents may interact with important physiological enzymes. For example, this is part of a model of the PPAR protein, or peroxisome proliferator activated receptor, for you science nerds. This type of protein plays important roles in our metabolic processes, with different forms having roles in fat burning, energy homeostasis, and signaling to the nucleus various needs, requiring up or down regulation of genes. Bottom line, this is a critical receptor molecule. Some cholesterol-lowering drugs are known to bind to the active site of PPAR. This set of models shows that multiple essential oil molecules also docked in the active site of PPAR, suggesting that cholesterol management activity may be possible. Some of the constituents included farnesol, turmerones from turmeric oil, and zerumbone and zingiberine from ginger oil. So, what does that all mean? The results of this study were the first to show, through in silico molecular docking, that essential oil constituents may function similarly to pharmaceuticals along several pathways of our lipid handling system. Certain oils may be useful as cholesterol-lowering therapies. Of course, this is just the first step. As we discussed earlier, in silico work must continue into in vitro and in vivo work in order to prove out the hypotheses. This publication on molecular docking can be found on PubMed if you're interested. One of our earliest preclinical studies is still yielding information and research directions. This was a project with a company called BioSeq. The project involved in vitro cell systems grown in complex, multicellular matrices. Now, these growth environments more closely mimic complex systems like humans and animals compared to single types of cells growing in a petri dish, which is more common. Cellular systems are put under various types of stress to mimic life conditions, and then various essential oils are used to see if they can reverse or alleviate the stress conditions. By looking at particular protein markers and pathways, the system's algorithms can then calculate the strength of interaction and make predictions about how similar compounds may react. It all sounds very science fiction, right? This study represented a unique intersection between in silico, in vitro, and in vivo design. By using these complex cellular matrices, we have an idea of how an essential oil will behave in a more complex organism. But thanks to the in silico algorithms and predictive models, we have a much higher throughput than typical studies. And in fact, the output from this study was so immense that we are still studying it 7 years later. We ended up with data that modeled the effect of 20 essential oils on more than 200 protein pathways and their downstream physiological effects. Some of the endpoints of this study included cytokines and chemokines, which are the chemical messengers of our bodies. Different receptors, components of the cell, and important enzymes were also analyzed in great depth. Each of these represented clinically relevant markers for disease states, studied under culture conditions that mimicked molecular environments of these diseases. The results showed that in the presence of essential oils, stressed cells had greater ability to communicate with each other, as well as an overall improvement in the way the cells were able to recapture their balance after being stressed. To date, 14 papers have been published from this data set, with many more possible. These studies are freely available and searchable in PubMed using the search term dōTERRA if you're interested. This was a rich study from which we were able to glean a great deal of information about how essential oils worked on a cellular level and how they were predicted to work in a complex human. The BioSeek platform has allowed us to get a broad overview of the further studies of essential oils that may result from this kind of foundational work. Okay, let's switch gears now from preclinical research and talk about clinical research, on which we'll spend the remainder of our time. dōTERRA has been doing clinical research since 2015, beginning just a few years after the company was formed. The executive team recognized right from the start that this type of research would be critical in our understanding of essential oils. Several studies were completed over the next few years, and a dedicated clinical research team was formed in 2019. Our clinical research team consists of highly experienced scientists, medical doctors, and pharmacologists who have specialized training in the conduction of clinical research. We are getting more focused in how we approach human clinical research through systematization and close alignment with our product development teams. Projects are done in accordance with all federal, state, and local laws and under the direction of an institutional review board, or IRB, who oversees all ethical aspects of a trial. The trials that we will discuss next have been carefully designed and the data collected with these principles and regulations in mind. Beginning in 2015, dōTERRA has entered the space of human clinical research with a desire to look at products supporting health. We'll highlight just a few here and talk about some others in a little bit greater depth later. And of course, they're available for study as well if you look for the publication. In 2018, the largest and longest study to date looked at internal use of essential oils over 3 months, with a placebo crossover for 3 additional months. Important safety markers were collected indicating that the oils were well tolerated. Results of this study are still pending publication, but will likely be available shortly. 2 additional studies in 2018 looked at topical use of essential oils. We'll talk about these in just a moment, as well as the studies in 2019. Now, as an underscore to all of these studies, let me note that each study was preceded with a great deal of preclinical research, both in vitro and in silico, in order to justify their investigation. Our clinical research studies fall into 3 broad categories of oil usage models: topical, aromatic, and internal. I'd like to talk in more detail about an example study or 2 from each of these categories. As part of our development process, we do an important human clinical study called Human Repeated Insult Patch Testing, or HRIPT. This test is a critical indicator of whether an essential oil may be a skin irritant, sensitizer, both, or neither. Skin irritants activate the body's inflammatory system, causing redness, itching, a feeling of heat locally, and so on. These reactions are mediated by cytokines and hormones, but they tend to resolve very quickly. A sensitizer involves the body's immune system, causing hives, rashes, and in serious cases, more serious symptoms like anaphylaxis. This can be thought of as an allergic reaction. Although essential oils do not contain proteins, which is usually what triggers the body's immune system in the case of an allergy like nuts or dairy, they have the potential to induce sensitization by joining with the body cells and forming what's called a hapten. This complex of volatile oil molecule and body protein has the potential to trip the immune system. The great news is this is very rare. It's important that we know how likely an essential oil is to induce irritation in the body or sensitization. In HRIPT testing, the essential oil or blend is repeatedly introduced to the skin on a semi-occlusive patch, usually on the back. In our methodology, there are 9 separate exposures over the course of several weeks. Using a patch is a more intensive test than most real-life situations, since the oil is held in closer contact to the skin for longer periods of time, where it would otherwise volatilize pretty quickly if it was applied without a patch. Now, these first 9 exposures help to determine the irritant potential of the oil. The skin is closely examined for redness, itchiness, pain, and other symptoms that could indicate an inflammatory reaction. Great news again, these tend to be fairly rare. Now, after a resting period of several weeks, the oil is introduced again onto a different patch of skin, usually on the arm. This challenge test will tell us the sensitizing potential of the oil. If a person reacts at this new site, the body may have generated an immune response to something in the oil. dōTERRA has been testing all its oils in this model for many years now. The results have been extremely encouraging. We've confirmed that essential oils can be safe to use on the skin and in most people do not produce irritation or sensitization. In oils that may be irritating, dilution with a carrier oil is very successful in reducing or eliminating irritation. Sensitization is a little bit harder to generalize because it's based on an immune reaction and therefore highly dependent upon individual genetics. However, information from our HRAPT studies in general has led to a greater understanding of safe topical use of essential oils and has allowed us to provide information for essential oil users, particularly novices, that can guide a better usage experience. Now, let's mention a few other topical studies while we're on the subject of topical application. In 2018, one study analyzed a massage technique called AromaTouch that involves specific massage movements and multiple essential oils with a fatty carrier oil added in succession. Another trial looked at participants with arthritis in their hands and studied whether massage with essential oils helped improve hand function and decrease the sensation of pain. In both cases, the massage with essential oil was more effective than massage alone. These results are available as publications on PubMed. Let's switch gears now and mention some studies involving aromatic essential oil delivery. In 2017, we conducted a study using bergamot essential oil that was diffused in the waiting room of a mental health facility. Consenting participants would arrive for their appointment and sit in the waiting room where either bergamot or water was being diffused. After some time, they were asked to rate their feelings of anxiousness and other mood indicators using validated surveys. The study showed that participants reported feeling more calm and having a better mood when they were sitting in the waiting room while bergamot was diffused. This publication, as with the others, is available open access on PubMed. In 2019, studies were completed looking at a product line called Adaptive that was formulated to help with feelings of anxiousness. In 2 separate studies, one with the ingested supplement and one with the aromatic oil, participants were asked to rate their anxiety levels before and after using the product compared to a placebo. Results showed significant reductions in feelings of anxiety and measurable, although non-statistically significant, changes in physiological markers such as heart rate and temperature. This photo here shows part of the trial for the diffused oil blend, the aromatic delivery. Participants were asked to take a timed test with questions of increasing difficulty as scientists with clipboards walked prominently around the room. The goal was to provide a situation of controlled stress. Participants wore monitors that allowed measurement of pulse rate and temperature, and afterward, they were asked how they felt as they took the test. In the background of the room, out of sight of the participants, a diffuser was set that either put plain water or the adaptive essential oil blend into the air. We wanted to see if the oil blend helped participants perform better on the test compared to the placebo, or at least feel better as they did it. Results showed that participants had improved test scores, although in most cases not statistically significant, while they inhaled the diffused essential oil. There was statistically significant improvement in how the participants perceived their levels of stress and anxiety during the test, while they inhaled the oil blend compared to the placebo. Finally, let's talk briefly about internal use, which is only allowed under specific regulatory paradigms, so keep that in mind. We are still early in the process of understanding all the important safety and efficacy parameters of using essential oils internally. So these studies give us some very critical information. One internal use study was actually our first official clinical trial back in 2015. This study analyzed a lavender-based supplement for supporting sleep. Lavender is the most well-studied essential oil for internal use, so we based our study on a number of other established parameters. In a randomized, placebo-controlled, crossover design, participants were given the new supplement and asked to track their sleep. In addition, they filled out a validated sleep survey called the LSEQ to indicate the quality and the subjective emotional outcomes of sleep. Safety markers were also gathered during this study. Our results indicated that the supplement was well tolerated by our participants over 6 weeks, and participants also showed significant improvements in sleep quality while they were taking the supplement compared to the placebo. You can look up this publication if you're interested in the full data. One of our most important internal essential oil trials involved looking at what happens to an essential oil, in this case lavender, after it is ingested. This is a process called pharmacokinetics, from the Greek words pharmakon, that means drug, and kinetikos, that means putting in motion. We're tracing the movement of substances as they interact within the body. It's helpful to think of pharmacokinetics using a mnemonic, ADME. That stands for absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. First, absorption. This is probably the most intuitive. We take an essential oil into or put it on our bodies, and it's absorbed through our various surfaces. Skin, mucous membranes in our mouths and digestive tracts, and the linings of our respiratory tract are all great places the essential oil gets absorbed. Next, distribution. This depends on blood flow through the body, as well as different types of cells and organs, and many individual factors like genetics and state of health. When we're doing our pharmacokinetic studies, we use a surrogate measure of distribution by looking at blood samples to represent systemic presence. Metabolism is another important part of pharmacokinetics. This is a measure of how our body breaks down molecules to use them. What are those molecules broken down into? What do they do? Fun fact, sometimes metabolites are even more active than their original molecules. We're looking to see if this is the case with essential oils. Finally, excretion. This is the removal of substances from the body. Did you know that we can excrete through our waste products, of course, but also through our breath and even through our skin? Each of these things tells us how the essential oil is behaving. Our first pharmacokinetic study looked at lavender with its main constituent, linalool. We were able to see how quickly the linalool was absorbed, what the maximum concentration was reached, and how quickly it was eliminated from the body. From this type of data, we gather important information about how to use essential oils safely. How often should they be dosed? How much should we use? This is information we've never known before. How exciting! The studies I've just discussed are done almost exclusively in-house at the research labs at dōTERRA. However, there are multiple collaborative scientific ventures I also wanted to touch upon very briefly. After all, good science is, at its heart, a sharing of information. We have projects currently going on with research partners across the United States and around the world, from countries in the European Union to India and Asia. These projects are extremely important, not only for their additional contributions to essential oil science, but because it allows for testing in diverse populations and under widely different circumstances. We recruit to fill our clinical trials from a local population that is quite different from a population, say, in India or South America. By partnering with other researchers around the world, we are gaining greater understanding of the demographic differences that may exist in essential oil usage and safety. We also have a medical advisory board staffed by practicing physicians in a variety of different specialties, and a scientific advisory board containing a group of essential oil experts in chemistry, botany, ethnobotany, pharmacology, and more. Our medical advisory board meets regularly to discuss clinical research studies and how these may be incorporated into practice. These professionals exchange information about their own practical experience with oils and coordinate with research teams to design new clinical trials. Our Scientific Advisory Board offers the most comprehensive source for information on all things scientific, regulatory, and noteworthy in the wider industry. These professionals represent a wealth of knowledge about essential oils. Some members have been researching oils for more than 50 years. Relationships with industry and professional organizations are also important for scientific advancement. doTERRA scientists are members of these diverse establishments that are committed to excellence in essential oil science and research in general. A few of these include the American Chemical Society, ACS, the Society of Clinical Research Associates, or SOCRA, the Association of Clinical Research Professionals, or ACRP, the Society of Clinical Data Management, or SCDM, and the American Association for Clinical Chemistry, AACC. In conclusion, essential oil research has come a long way in the past 100 years, and we still have so much to do. Human clinical research using essential oils is of critical importance right now, as essential oils continue to grow in popularity. Many therapeutic and preventative uses of essential oils are possible. We just need well-designed, ethically collected data to validate. doTERRA strives to offer not only the purest and highest quality oils available, but to contribute meaningfully to the realm of essential oil science through both preclinical and clinical research. Through study, expertise, and publication, we plan to keep making ripples in this pond, hopefully with far-reaching effects. The future looks very exciting. We will continue to add to the body of published results with additional papers that we hope will inspire even more scientific inquiry. Studies on safety and efficacy of oils are always underway. At the end of the day, the goal is to bring increased attention to essential oils as legitimate therapies in integrative medicine. This can offer humankind a rich palette of natural complex substances that can support many aspects of health and are firmly backed by high-quality science. Thank you so much for your attention today.
Thank you, Dr. Nicole. While we all know that we can diffuse or apply essential oils, did you ever think of the ways that you can make essential oils a part of your daily routine? With the new normal of spending way more time at home, it is important to keep our well-being in check. Sharing on how she was able to maintain a healthy lifestyle through essential oils, please welcome on screen doTERRA Philippines founder and diamond leader, Miss Vicky Chan.
Hey there, it's been over a year in this global crisis that we are living in. It has been difficult and it has lasted a little bit way too long than we would have liked. I don't know what I would have done without some of my essential oils, a little bit of balance to help me accept everything that's going on, whether I like it or not, a little bit of peppermint to help me place some action behind my goals, and some adaptive to help me adjust to our ever-changing world in this new normal. If you'd like to have a little bit more help and tips on how you can use the essential oils with what's going on in the world that isn't seem to be stopping, then join us with our amazing panel who will be sharing more about essential oils to help you thrive during these trying times, so that you can come away with a new idea, a new strategy, and even a fresh perspective to get you on your way to success in life, however that looks like for you, and feel more alive now. If that sounds good, then let's get started with our panel.
Hi, my name is Joven and I'm the Account Management Specialist for doTERRA Philippines. Thank you so much, Vicky. I agree. Having essential oils with you could be a really good companion, especially these trying times. To start our discussion, she is a wife and a mother to 4 awesome kids. She is a gold leader and a new addition to doTERRA Philippines Founder Club. Her expertise in sharing the uses and benefits of the products, together with her charming personality, also is a plus to educate many. Please welcome Gold Leader Miss Christian May Kayanan. Hi, Miss Shen. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, Joven. Thank you.
Our next speaker, she works as a general manager for an international logistics firm and is a co-founder of Lorenzo Miguel Sanctuary, Eco Farm, a place of healing and transition inspired by her son, Lorenzo, who has autism. She's a certified Hatha yoga teacher by Yoga Vidya Gurukul India and certified kids yoga teacher by Rainbow Kids International. She's a doTERRA wellness advocate, a certified essential oil specialist, a wife, and a mom to two wonderful children. Please welcome Miss Olive Medina. Hi, Miss Olive. Thank you for being with us today.
Hi, Joven. Thank you for having me.
And last but not the least, she's a Yoga Works teacher trainer, co-founder and faculty director of Urban Ashram Yoga, a center for premier study of yoga in the Philippines. She's also a perinatal teacher trainer for the School of Yoga. Currently, she is training under Jack Cornfield and Tara Brack for Mindfulness Meditation Teacher Certification Program. Please welcome the doTERRA Philippines Wellness Advocate, Miss JP Cox. Hi, Miss JP. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Joven. I'm honored and happy to be here.
Thank you. So, first off, can you tell us how did you know about doTERRA? Let's start with you, Miss Shen.
So, hi everyone. So, in 2012, my Ninang SP introduced doTERRA Essential Oil to me. So, at that time, my daughter, who is 3 years old, is having a severe attack of her asthma. So, she has bronchial asthma. Good thing that my Ninang SP has her breathe on her. So, she gave me a drop and have me wrap it on my child's chest and let her inhale the oil. And in no time, yung relief nung anak ko, nakita ko talaga. And from then on, gumamit na kami ng essential oil. So up to now, yung buong family namin is into essential oils na.
How about you, Miss JP?
It was introduced to me by a family friend, Eileen Bonifacio. We were looking for natural solutions to regular allergies, not as difficult as yours, Shen. And so what happened was when we started using it, our families had less allergies, and it's become more, it's no longer as intense as it used to be. So that's why since 2017 up until now, it has been a staple in our household.
How about you, Miss Olive?
Well, for me, 7 years ago, when my son with autism turned to become a teenager, he had moments of aggression and meltdowns, and I was trying to find natural ways to manage his condition. And I came across many articles that says that essential oils help manage the condition of persons with autism. So I went to other health stores, and I was able to go to G-Stop store of the late Gina Lopez, and I saw some doTERRA essential oils there. So I got curious and researched about doTERRA oils. And what I saw in the internet really impressed me, particularly the certified pure therapeutic grade, the co-impact sourcing, and the intentions of the founders. So I immediately looked for a wellness advocate, and I was able to find a very good wellness advocate, Miss Vicky Chang, and the rest, as they say, is history. And 8 years later, I'm still here. I'm very happy and grateful with doTERRA essential oils.
Wow, yeah. Also, nabasa ko din po yung about kay Miss Gina Lopez regarding her story about doTERRA. So, yeah. So, to Miss JP, can you tell us more what is aromatic use?
Aromatic use is the dispersion of the oil into the air. And so what our sense of smell is the olfactory system that helps us remember or goes into our limbic system, which then processes our memories, our experiences. And so that's the one that helps us remember those good old days when you're smelling either your grandma or something that ignites that memory. Aside from that, it transforms the place that you are in. So for example, if, for example, the day is difficult, when you put in the oil, it makes it easier, it makes it brighter. And then aside from that, because essential oils are pure, it is actually quite effective in freshening the air and the environment that you're in. It's not just hiding the odor, it's cleaning it out. The best part is it's non-toxic. Aside from that, so the last point, it can be made specific to your needs. So for example, if in the day, in the morning, you feel unmotivated to go, just put on the citrus oils and you feel more energetic, you feel more hopeful, you feel more vibrant. And then in the midday where, you know, energy levels starts to slide, your focus is a little wavering, or what they call now the brain fog, when you put in Intune or peppermint, it helps you focus. And then at evening time, when you want to start to relax and to rest, then you put on lavender or serenity so that you can have a peaceful and calm sleep. So aromatic use is just really the easiest and the most effective way to use it.
May I add to that? That is the safest way to use essential oil. And see, there's a science behind aromatic use of essential oils. Now, can you share to us what is your favorite aromatic oil and where or when do you usually use it? Let's start with you, Miss Olive.
Well, it's hard to pick just one oil because I have a lot of favorite oils, but it really depends on our need for the moment, our family's need at the moment, and our intention for using an essential oil. So in the morning, we really like to diffuse a doTERRA proprietary blend adaptive, which contains a lot of calming oils like lavender, wild orange, neroli. It really sets the mood for the day. And I also like to diffuse peppermint and rosemary for when we are studying and working at home to um, make us become more focused and for clarity. And of course, at night, our favorite will always be Serenity or lavender. And Serenity is a doTERRA proprietary blend, which also includes lavender, plus other floral oils that makes us sleep better. And when we're going out, yeah, I have something here, which I always bring. I have a kit, but I always like On Guard. You can apply it topically or you can just inhale the aroma because it's a protective blend to help us during these challenging times to boost our immunity.
I agree. How about you, Miss Shen?
So for me naman, aside from Breathe, which is my children's go-to oil, my personal favorite is peppermint. So I use peppermint for my migraine. So before peppermint, when I'm having my migraine attack, I'm always taking pain meds. And then I'm just lying down all the time in a very dark room. So can you imagine kung gaano siya kahirap? So when I started using peppermint, so na-lessen niya yung severity ng pain and hindi ko na kailangang mag-take ng any pain medications. And also, I used peppermint to clear my sinus. So, yung ma-open niya yung airways ko. And also, a drop of peppermint on a cup of hot water and instantly, meron na akong peppermint tea. So, ang dami niyang use and I just love its scent. It keeps me relaxed. So, I can't leave the house without it on my pocket. So, here, I have it here.
Yeah, everybody loves peppermint, right? So how about you, Miss JP?
My favorite, I have it with me. Motivate for those days where you feel blah, all right? Where you can't make yourself get out of the bed. This is the best one. And also in tune because it helps really focus the mind at the task at hand. And when I put it on, it feels like you can give me all your things and I can handle it. So these are the two. I also have the yoga collection, which I use for classes and for whatnot because it's just really grounding and uplifting. So I have Align, Anchor, and Arise. So those are my go-to oils.
See, di ba? So parang when you started using essential oils, hindi ka na pwedeng lumabas ng bahay without it, right? So yeah, thank you for sharing your favorite essential oils. Syempre, meron din ako. I have here my On Guard sanitizing mist. So, especially this pandemic, sobrang effective nito. So, sobrang staple siya, right? So, Miss Olive, may I ask, why do you think quality of essential oil is so important?
I think the quality of the essential oil is very important because the potency of an essential oil is dependent on its purity. So when you use an essential oil that is adulterated or contaminated, you are doing yourself more harm than good. And you get all those unwanted chemicals and toxins, and we don't like that. And the good thing about doTERRA, aside from it being certified pure, I like that the culture of the company, the intention of the company is also pure. And I always believe that everything is energy. And when the company that produces the essential oil practices fair trade, then we absorb that goodness. And it also affects the quality of the essential oil.
I agree. Miss Olive, we know that the easiest way of using essential oil is to use it aromatically. How effective are the oils when you use it in diffuser?
Well, it's very effective. Like we have here the petal diffuser. And when you put an essential oil in this kind of diffuser, then it transforms the oil into microscopic fine oil droplets and disperse it into the air. And its effect is almost immediate. And everyone in the room can actually get the therapeutic benefits of the essential oil safely.
Safely and easy, right? So, Miss Shen, in your own experience, how important is it to use essential oils aromatically?
So it is very important, Joven. So like what you've said, the easiest way to use the essential oil is aromatic use. But it's not just that. So there's power on using the essential oil aromatically. So in 22 seconds, the molecules can reach our brain. And by 2 minutes, you can found the oils in our bloodstreams. And in 20 minutes, it affects every single cell of our body. So, ganon ka-effective yung ating essential oils. So, just by inhaling it. So, there's another way, which is Miss Olive discussed, yung ating diffusing. So, by diffusing, we literally have diffusers all over our house. Not just to help us eliminate the odor, or not just to smell good, pero nakakatulong din siya sa amin as individual. Nakakapag-induce siya ng positivity sa amin and it uplifts our mood.
Couldn't agree more, Miss Shen. So, may I ask, does the aromatic use of oils works to you and to your kids? Let's start with you, Miss JP.
Yes, Joven, it works amazingly well. Especially now in the pandemic where online schooling is the norm, you can see from the children when they don't put oils, when I don't topically put it on them or diffuse the oil beside them, you can see how much unscattered energy and focus there is. Sometimes there's also crankiness when, asking them to wake up in the morning, do their work. And so when we diffuse the oils, it helps balance them, it helps them focus, and then it makes them interested and excited to finish the work at hand. So I think its efficacy is just amazing. You don't have to do anything extra. You just put it on and boom, everything's like, okay, kumbaya.
How about you, Miss Olive?
Yeah, to add to what JP mentioned, essential oil is very effective on my kids, especially during this pandemic when they are very restricted. It gives them a sense of being in one with nature. And our doTERRA essential oils, because it's pure, they are really pure gifts of the earth. And it allows them to have a connection with nature. And they are able to associate it like being out with nature. It uplifts their mood, and it really sets the mood for the day. They are relatively happy, and they are able to focus on their tasks for the day.
And you, Miss Shen?
Yeah, certainly. I just love the fact talaga na my kids are growing up na they know doTERRA and they use the essential oil. So sa bahay, parang sila na lang on their own. They know what oils to use on a specific situation. And as a mom, I feel so empowered.
Diba? Sobrang nakaka-amaze knowing that your kids can even know how to use essential oils. Baka mas may alam pa sila sa akin. Diba? So, yeah. So, My next question is, do you believe on this saying, our sense of smell is a powerful tool that significantly influences the way we experience life? Why or why not? Let's start with you, Miss Shen.
So definitely, Joven, talagang may significant ano yung oil sa atin, ano. So like I've said earlier, our sense of smell has a big impact on our body and with our mood, so mental and emotional health. So nowadays, I keep diffusing wild orange to uplift our mood. Kasi, di ba, ang tagal nating naka-lockdown, so medyo depressing. So, when I'm diffusing the citrus oils specifically, kasi sila yung mga happy oils natin, so nagbabago yung ambience ng bahay.
How about you, Miss JP?
Definitely, it helps a lot because it creates that atmosphere of a safe haven. And right now, I'd like to shelter my children from thinking that the outside world is scary and full of uncertainties. And so when we diffuse these oils, it makes them feel calm and appreciated, and then it makes them look forward to the time when we can go outside safely. It also affects them in a way that's fast acting and it's visible by the change of their mood. And it's amazing because you cannot just do that with anything else. You can, give them treats to, be nice or remember to say your kind words. But this one, you don't even have to say anything. You just have to drop the diffuser oil, put it on the diffuser, or put it topically, or let them smell the bottle, and it's like magic.
Agree. And you, Miss Olive?
I also agree because we experience the world through our senses, and smelling an essential oil uplifts our mood. Plus, it brings back pleasant memories of good times, like especially when you are feeling low because you are inside your home and you cannot go out. You smell an essential oil and you associate it with a happy memory in the past, and instantly you feel good. So, especially for the children, they like remembering the good times, and just talking about it releases positive emotions.
See, sobrang nakaka-amaze kung ano talaga yung nagagawa ng mga essential oils, especially sa life natin. As you all know, we have two yoga instructors here. So, Miss JP and Miss Olive. As yoga instructors, could you explain how does it help you and your class when using essential oils aromatically? Let's start with you, Miss Olive.
Well, as for me, I teach mainly children, particularly special needs children and their parents. So essential oil is very helpful because especially when the kids are hyperactive and they would like to roam around the room, you could not even start the class because they're going around the room. When I diffuse, particularly lavender, because it's the safest oil to use for children, it instantly allows them to relax and go to the mat, and without me even shouting, oh, come on, children, come here, go to your mats. Then they're able to feel more relaxed and calm. And also, depending on our theme for the class or the intention for the class, sometimes it's relaxation, sometimes it's focus, sometimes you'd like to have some fun. And when you like to have some fun, you could use citrus oils like wild orange or lemon. So it sets the mood for our class.
How about you, Miss JP?
Well, there are 3 points. First, as a teacher, it helps me in the way I sequence, in the way I cue things, and then it keeps me creative and well-intentioned. And when I use oils on me so that I am present, it reflects in how the class goes. And then the feedback of the practitioners would say, that was really an amazing class. That was the class that I wanted to take. I'm so grateful for this class. Second, as a speaker, when you're, doing this kind of thing where anxiety or nervousness is always a natural experience of the human being, of a human person, it helps you feel grounded, that the world will not crumble just because you have to speak to 100 or 1,000 people. And so that in itself also helps me be focused in what I have to say. It helps me be as concise and as clear and effective in the way I speak. Lastly, it also, as a practitioner, the one who does the postures, there are days when I'm looking for a hard practice, and so I push myself a little bit, just enough to find my challenge, and then you will feel muscle soreness or tiredness, and so the essential oils are the ones that help me recover faster and helps me go back to the mat the following day. So it motivates you to do the practice.
Now it makes me want to attend to their classes. So, with the seasonal threats in full swing, you may find yourself looking for a natural remedies and defenses to keep yourself healthy. An excellent option to consider is using essential oils. Some oils provide a boost to your respiratory health or overall immune system, while others are designed to provide relief of seasonal threats. Some can even do both. One of these is doTERRA On Guard. doTERRA On Guard supports and strengthens the immune and respiratory systems from seasonal or environmental threats. You can diffuse it to purify the air and to give off an uplifting aroma. Also, we have doTERRA Breathe. doTERRA Breathe maintain feelings of clear breathing by applying to your chest or by diffusing into the air. Rub into your feet or put into your palms and cup them around your nose to minimize the effects of seasonal threats. Also, doTERRA Purify. When environmental threats run high, use Purify Essential Oil Blend to combat adverse effects. Purify can be used to protect against environmental threats and can help minimize the effects caused by agitating environments. How about you guys? During these trying times, what are your recommended aromatic oils to use, and do you need to choose a right diffuser? Let's start with you, Michelle.
So for me, On Guard is on top of my list. So for to boost our immune system, and yung Flume na protocol natin, I diffuse it every day, and also with wild orange to purify the air, as you have said. So and also to uplift our mood. So, when it comes to diffuser naman, ang iti-take in consideration siguro natin is yung space kung saan natin siya ilalagay. Like sa amin, I have the petal, I have the koala, the brevi, and the dawn. So, it depends na lang kung how big the space na paglalagyan mo. And for me siguro, mas peaceful lang ako in these trying times na knowing I have these oils with me, especially minsan hindi naiwasan may konting sneeze or may konting itching of the throat. So, medyo nag-iisip ka kaagad, ano kaya ito. But when we take the Flume and agad nawawala yung, yung nararamdaman mo. So, parang nagiging at ease ka. So, at the same time, yung mental health mo, na maintain mo. Diba? So, kasi yun lang talaga ang kalaban natin ngayon, not just the pandemic itself, pero mas malakas kasi yung mental health natin na dapat talaga yun ang ini-empower natin at this time.
There's a peace of mind.
Yeah.
How about you, Miss JP?
For me, I think our go-to oil is balance because it just gives everyone a sense of calm and clarity. It keeps everyone's energies and moods even. For the kids, they have rescuer and thinker. Rescuer for those little boo-boos and also to protect them from seasonal threats. And the thinker is for them to help them with online schooling. Then for my husband my husband and me, definitely it's On Guard and Deep Blue. So those are our go-to essential oils, which then helps us live harmoniously together. Because if we do not have these oils, it might be a lot more chaotic, especially this time.
And do you miss Olive?
Well, I also agree with the oils that they're using, particularly the Flume protocol, which is frankincense, lemon, On Guard, oregano, and melaleuca. So these oils, I try to diffuse alternately throughout the day. And the diffuser I use is really the humidifier and diffuser in one. because it lasts longer. I mean, we are able to extend the period of diffusing because it's a big diffuser and you really need it inside the house to improve your immunity. Now, with regards to the mental and emotional wellness, this is also very important as what the two ladies have mentioned because we have had to go through a lot of changes. So the oils that have been very helpful for us is, aside from adaptive, is vetiver and cedarwood. So all of the woody scent oils are very grounding and it keeps us calm amidst the chaos that we are in right now. And of course, On Guard is always there, especially when going out of the house. We also have this pilot diffuser that you can bring wherever you go, even when you're eating out. And it's a very eco-friendly diffuser because it lasts for about 4 hours and very little oil to use, very little water to use, plus little oils to use.
Yeah, Miss Olive, you can never go wrong with On Guard, right? So again, thank you so much to all our wonderful panelists who gave their time and support to celebrate with us. Back to you, Miss Vanessa.
Thank you, Joven. But before we end this morning, I would like to turn back the time to our doTERRA Philippines General Manager, Mr. Michael Carson.
What a wonderful event, full of information, sharing, and inspiration. My hope is that you have come away from this event more informed and ready to take your next steps with doTERRA. In the lobby, you can visit the Holiday Products Room to find out more about how you can get limited time offers associated with this event and the 2021 holiday season. Let me just mention a few. The Aroma Essentials Kit is a collection of 10 powerful oils talked about today that can be enjoyed in many different ways, including aromatically. The kit comes with the La Luz diffuser that is only available in this kit. The kit is available for loyalty reward members and also for new members this month only. If you have registered for this event, you will also get a free 5 ml peppermint essential oil and a lapel pin like this sent together with your order. The Koala diffuser is backed by popular demand and makes a great addition to a kid's room, a study room, or at work. This is a popular item that will sell out very quickly, so get yours now while it's available. It is paired with eucalyptus and lemongrass oils. The Hikari diffuser is an elegant Japanese aesthetic-inspired diffuser, best for areas that you want to promote elegance and tranquility. The diffuser is paired with our popular calming blend, Adaptive, and a Peace Touch roll-on. Definitely a stress be gone offering that you will want to check out before they are gone. Brand new to the market is doTERRA's high quality, very rare and precious rose and jasmine touch oils. These are the best available in the world and you won't ever smell better rose and jasmine oils anywhere. When purchased together during this holiday season, you receive a free Beautiful Touch roll-on oil that is a go-to for lifting mood and bringing out confidence. There are other products in the holiday product guide, but I wanted to just point those out. The site you are watching this training on today will be available for you for the rest of 2021. Please consider hosting a watch party with your friends or sharing your credentials with a friend. Do whatever it takes to share this doTERRA experience with people who you think could benefit. I'd like to thank all the doTERRA employees who contributed to the massive undertaking of such a large and well-run event. These are huge undertakings that take months and months to plan and produce. We hope that you agree and will help bring thousands more people to this site in the next few weeks. As we part ways today, I hope your next steps with doTERRA are clear. Perhaps you have decided you need to know more. Reach out to the friend who invited you today, and they will give you all the information you can handle. If you realize you want oils in your life, then consider starting out with the Aroma Essentials Kit or another first order kit. You won't be disappointed. If you have been prompted to share the gifts of the earth with others, consider spending some time in our business room in the lobby to learn more. That brings us to the end, but rather let's decide that this is the beginning of a new life that brings back hope to ourselves and to others as you go on your way, sharing and spreading optimism and a positive way forward. Thank you and have a great day.